I like that hat.
Right on. Gotta get you one. Chef, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
Thank you for joining us and the show, man. I can't wait. So talk to us a little about your story.
Man, about Chef DeeFusion, about Darion.
Let's do Darion to turn into DeeFusion.
All right, cool. I like the way that sound. Well, I was born and raised in Dallas, Texas. Spent a little bit of time in Louisiana. Um, I'm a family man. I'm a twin. I pretty much started out my career at a very early age with at around like 6 years old. And then that's why I really got into cooking. Just been around family, my grandmother, my aunt, and it kind of just blossomed into something I never expected. I thought I was going to be all into sports and football. I had scholarships for football and running track. Some of the top colleges, in the states. And I decided I just love cooking. So at the age of 12, I got my first job at a Marriott. Just doing like a little line, little prep cook, and just kind of just inspired me. Just seeing the possibilities that this type of career could just take me. Not just as a career, but just the growth as a man.
Starting at a hotel, you're doing a lot of volume. You were saying before, correct?
Correct.
And then you moved your way up. What did you learn there that you didn't expect to learn?
What I didn't expect to learn was the I guess my capabilities. Honestly, I learned a lot about myself. No matter how big the task was, I can accomplish it. And at that point, at a very early age, I figured, I had a guy who was like 65 years old, and I was like 12, and he was telling me, Darion, if you can do it one time, you can do it for 1,000 people. You do it for one person, do it for 1,000 people. And consistency is key with everything. As long as you're consistent with the first time, with the first guest to the last guest, you should be successful.
Yeah, and then you said you went from the Marriott to the Four Seasons.
Well, yeah. Well, actually, I went to the Ritz Carlton. So now Marriott and Ritz Carlton are partner companies. Sister company within the brand. That took me that right there. When I pretty much got drafted. From the chef over there, it was pretty much down the street. Like I was in New Orleans on Canal Street, and he was like, "Hey, Darion, I came in and helped them for one event, and he reached out to my banquet chef and asked if they, could I transfer over there because it was kind of short staff, and he liked my work ethic."
You say it's the same company, but it's totally different kind of clientele. So
most definitely,
you stepped up your execution, your understanding of what you're doing, and you're moving up. Because I like to tell the story about that, right?
Yes.
And so, how long were you cooking before you said you want to be a business owner?
Ooh, as far as a business owner, I say I was cooking for about 12 and a half years. At that point, I was like 25. So like about 7 years ago is when I really feel like I want to take my talent and actually brand it, and turn it into a business. And that came from, like right after graduate, finishing culinary school in New York. I decided, to move back to New Orleans, and that's when I started working at the Marriott. I think I was at my, I want to say 7th or 8th year with the company. Like mind you, I started when I was 12, and I worked all the way through high school. Went to culinary school. Then when I went to New Orleans, and I transferred to after a year in New Orleans, I transferred to the Ritz Carlton. That's when I was like, man, I can really just go, take this to another level outside of just working for somebody else. Working for myself, putting the same hard work that I would, give to a company. Why can't I give to myself, and brand myself?
So, what was the first thing you did to set up your business? Because obviously, this show, I want people to watch it, be inspired by your story, get to know the dope shit out there, but also a call to action, right? What was the first thing you did when you want to start your business? Was it the menu? What was it?
It was actually reaching out to the just in the neighborhood in New Orleans. Finding my clientele. Just stepping outside of working with Marriott and saying, hey, you know what? On my off days, let's just hit the streets. I literally hit the streets. I had my small little Saturn L300, man. I had like 170,000 miles on it, and it would get me from point A to point B. And I would literally load up my car after a long shift, and I would go to Frenchman Street, and I would just, have 3 or 4 little items that I was selling, sell a couple bottled waters or whatnot, and just to see what the people wanted, and to be able to give the people what they were asking for, whether it was at the late night club scene or, after a couple festivals. People get tired of just the regular stuff in New Orleans. So I was like, let me bring them a little bit of what I can do, still kind of, holding on to the roots of New Orleans, but, actually bringing out the roots of Darion.
Yeah, no, I like what you just said. Number one, most people focus on the things like creating a menu, creating marketing, when you're like, let me just hit the streets. And in a lot of ways, that's like even some of the moguls in rap music. They just went out there and hustled when the radio stations wouldn't play their music. Jay and them would just go sell out the trunk of their cars. I like that.
Yeah, and that's my mentality.
I also like how you were selling, a little bit of you, which is the roots of food, but also with that Ritz-Carlton technique that you and New York culinary, right? So I think that's a great combination of Creole food or like comfort food, but with a technique that you have that kind of develops DeeFusion, which we'll get into. So you had good success. What were you selling back then that was like, okay, people like my shit?
Oh man, being from Dallas, a lot of people kind of shit on me a little bit, like, you can't make gumbo, you can't cook like us out here. Mind you, I went 2 years back to back from 2012 and 2013. I won the New Orleans gumbo competition that's held at the Royal Sonesta. And my recipe was voted to go at the Marriott where I was currently working, the Marriott Convention Center, and that recipe was at that restaurant for at least 6 years. So every time I would visit after, my gumbo was still there. I didn't get any, I didn't get anything for it besides the fact that, I knew I could do it. I was like,
that's key. That's key. No, that's key. Knowing you can do it, developing that confidence. I like that. The keto gumbo, obviously people say the root, but when I look at your gumbo, everything looks perfectly cooked. Because the last thing you want is hard seafood.
Correct.
And the color, and that's a prerequisite. So I'm not even going to say how important the color in the roux is, but I look at the juiciness of the seafood, because when you send me that video, I'm a big critic, and the way you popped it out so easy was crazy, because you could just tell that's your signature, man. That's dope.
Yeah.
So you got some good feedback in the streets, and then you started the catering company, correct?
Yes.
How long have you been having the catering company?
Off and on. So I went for 3 years with my catering from 2012 to 2015. And I stopped it at that point. At 2015 is when the Food Network picked me up, and I ended up moving to the Bay Area. And that was probably honestly the biggest accomplishment. Outside of winning, the competitions on the Food Network, but moving to a huge food city, from going, being classically French trained in New York, then moving, to pretty much what I call home in New Orleans, where that's food is all, that's all they know besides food and having a good time. And to go to the Bay Area where I can really just lay down my roots, in an area that kind of felt like home to me. It's, when I first started off in the Bay Area, I was in Oakland. Mm-hmm. And, I was working out in San Francisco at Beach Chalet, right on the beach, Ocean Drive. I think it was Ocean Drive or something like that. But I was right there on the water. I was the executive sous, the executive sous chef there for almost a year. And it was just like, man, this is great. I can go anywhere and I can be successful as long as I put my all into it. I hold on to my confidence. Like, I can go anywhere.
So let's not jump too fast. Tell me how it was on the Food Network. Tell us, for our viewers. Some of them want to be TV chefs. Some of them want to compete for the competition. Tell us your experience on it.
Well, I tell people like this, contrary to what you see on the screen, the 47 and a half minutes that y'all watch on TV, it's hard work. It doesn't matter if you're on, a show with Gordon Ramsay or Bobby Flay or Guy Fieri, for Guys Grocery Games, which I was on. It was a lot of work, like I was fortunate enough to get picked up by them via Instagram, just social media. I didn't never heard of the show, never watched it. And when they reached out to me just off of I guess my personality and my food pictures I was posting, you know, it really showed me that people are actually really watching when you don't think they are watching. And so when I went there on set, it's hot as hell, with the lights gleaming on you. You come in from the flight, you really got enough time to sleep, wake up early in the morning, and you go on set. You're there for about 18 hours. And obviously, depending on how far along you get in the competition, the longer you're there. It was grueling. I tell you, for me, it was easy cooking because I was able to be myself and just things flow. The hard part was trying to be a TV personality and what the producers wanted you to be and trying to portray this image like Darion, like you were actually kicking ass on the show and people you really just literally kicking their ass, but you're just flowing like there's like your energy level is when you're cooking is high, but it's like you walked in, it's like you just walking into work and you just say hey, what they do, go ahead do it.
They want that personality, which you have, but you were going in there with a mission to win because you're competitive.
Correct. I was like, it's natural for me. I come into work or wherever I'm doing the event, and I just go on the flow. I have my music playing, in my ear, and I'm just like, okay, this is the task I got to knock out. Let's have fun. Let's do it. I don't have to be, talking shit to the next competitor. I'm just my food gonna talk all the shit that I need to talk. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's how I felt. But it was also humbling, to be around different people, being around, the Guy Fieri's, the Catherine McCormick, having Bobby Flay in the background, saying just kind of stopping by a visit. That was kind of like a shocker. But seeing them, when Food Network was like just beginning for me, when it was just Iron Chef, and just seeing like the things that they've overcome and how big they've made it. And taking a step back, looking back in my life, my journey, to saying, hey man, you're a young kid, just out of Dallas and moving to, New York, being one of like 3 or 4 blacks, at this school and still overcoming all adversity and, making it to, I won't even say making it to the top, but like every day, just slowly just.
You're growing. So,
yeah.
So that was, how long was the whole process from when you got there, filmed the show? What, 3 days, 4 days?
It was actually like a day and a half. Like I was in Santa Rosa for like a day and a half. Like I filmed the first time. What was it? I think I filmed the first day for like the first shot, and then the second day we went back and that's when we did the last, I think 2 or 3 rounds or whatever. Yeah. It was intense. It was it was long hours. Like you get a little small lunch break. Barely had time to call loved ones at the house or whatever. It was work. It was it was some for real work. Getting set up with the camera crew and the lights and making sure all this stuff is ready. Doing a quick run through, understanding how how the show is gonna work and whatnot. I say it like this: the shit's not fake. That time when that 30 minutes starts counting down, that you got 30 minutes to shop, cook, plate, and be ready, and still keep keep my area clean.
How did winning change your life and your career?
It didn't change my life. I say in a major way. I say my career. It did. I had a lot of exposure.
Yeah.
And that was for people it changed. I guess I can go back. It did change my life because the people that I grew up with and the people that knew me, saw, like I say, this young kid from Dallas, didn't have much, but overcame all adversity, and won. Then just win. I didn't just win the show. I won the show, and I took them for the full 20 grand. That changed me to showing that hey, if I can do it, literally, maybe as cliche as it may sound, if I can do it, anybody can really do it. I didn't have the easiest life growing up. I didn't have the hardest, but nothing was given to me. I literally paid my way to, culinary school, all that.
You say the cliche, but let's go back to this. What's the one thing that you have that is what made you who you are today? Because if I want our viewers to say, I want to learn from him, what's the one thing that you've got? Like for me,
And my perseverance. I think my perseverance. Like regardless, I think I take that with me in life with everything. Like even becoming a father. You know what I'm saying? That it's hard. You know what I'm saying? But I know what the ending goal is. I want to achieve the goal, which for me is being 100% successful within myself. I'm not trying to impress nobody else. I'm not doing it for nobody. I'm doing it for me and my family. Even before I had a family, I was doing it for the people who have dreams that feel like they were able to reach it. Because like I said, I had opportunities to go play football, and people was like, literally, even my mom was like, "Hey, like, why are you doing this? Why don't you go? You got top picks to go play football or run track, but you want to go cook." I said, that's what I wanted. That's what I feel in my heart. That was my deep passion. It wasn't. It's not a job. I tell you one thing. I don't never wake up, feeling like, oh man, I'm going to work today. No, I'm gonna go have fun. Like it's work because that's what it is. But I don't go in thinking like oh my god, like a great cloud on my head. Like, should I really be doing this? No, I want to do this. I have fun. I catch myself like, at my job or doing events or whatever much longer than I plan on because I'm enjoying it. I'm not thinking about the time no more. I'm thinking about the time. I'm thinking about how good I feel, and that's my release therapy. For me.
So DeeFusion is transformed from D, and let's talk about your sauces. How did that come about? Because where do you want to be in 2 years?
Oh,
tell me.
It's gonna be. It's funny you say it. I was at a Walmart when I was going for my grandmother's funeral, and me and my wife, I just looked to the right. I say, coming soon, I will be on these shelves. I want to be, not just in small restaurants, or local restaurants, whatever, or small little mom and pop stores. I want to continue to do that. That's what's helping my brand grow. But within the next 2 years, I want to be at your, local supermarkets, at your Walmarts. I want to be a top feature on, Amazon. I want to be that guy. And I tell you one thing, like my sauces, like I've never changed anything about my sauces except for just the branding. And I think like I tell my wife, like the sauce is gonna sell itself once you taste it. But in order for you to taste it, it needs to be able to capture your eyes. So I went through labels and logos and different things. I was trying to try this out, try that out, and we kind of something that was reach out to the people. So when it is sitting on the shelf, it's like, oh my goodness. Like I'll give you an example, like first sauce I did was just, it was just in a bottle, a small little circle label DeeFusion. That's it. You know what I'm saying? And I kind of just hand wrote what sauce it was. And then I was like, okay, let's do something a little different. So I was like, okay, let's do something let's do something a little simple. Like that, something like you kind of rebound. I was like, it's better. But then I say, why not go? Why not put on the show? Like get it that ooh wee.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like when you sit down, when it's still on the shelf compared to this one, regardless of what's in the bottle, you're gonna go for what kind of catches your eye, right?
Yeah. No, definitely talking about the marketing piece. No, I like that. But
and that
also it's your story, right? So what made you go to sauces?
I love sauce. Like I'm glad you asked me that. I love hot sauce. No matter where I travel in the world or in the States, I get hot sauce. I don't buy hot sauce on. I've never purchased a bottle of hot sauce online ever in my life. I actually have to physically go get it. So when I go to Belize, I go to the little market, that's probably outside the Amazon, and I will go grab a bottle. I don't care if it's sometimes like, you may find this bottle that may be in the grocery store. I get it from Belize, or I go to Mexico or Honduras, or I've tried some stuff from different local chefs when I was in Hawaii. I love that. And at one point I had like over 40 different different hot sauces. Well, probably in total it was about 100 and something different bottles. And I stood to the point I was like, me and my wife was like, when this pandemic hit, was like, what's another way we can kind of capitalize on what's going on in the world? Everyone selling the plates and this and that. Like I said, I can make plates all day. But that's not me. When I was hitting the streets, that's what I was kind of doing. That's not what I want to do now. Because I'm not knocking nobody who was selling the plates, whatever at the time. But the same people who were selling these plates, They're not. You don't see them online. You don't see them posting this or I'm selling this. It came and it went.
Yeah.
Sauce for me, it was like, okay, man. So I was like, I'm not gonna do sauce. Then she's like, well, you love, your season, your rubs, they're really good. I said, okay, cool. I thought about it. I played around with it for like a month or so. That I thought about like, well, if everyone's not gonna use that rub only once a year or once every once in a while, where they're doing it, doing a brisket or whatever, or tri-tip or whatever, you know what I'm saying? I said, but damn, what is it? I just said, I scraped my head. I said, hot sauce. I love hot sauce. I said, for one, like, I can tell you one thing, hands down, I'm one of the best sauciers that I've ever met. Like, outside of what I was trained, what I can say now, I can confidently say that now. 10 years ago, I was great. I just was at the level where I can take something, I can make something, and I'm gonna hit it right on. And I was like, I love sauce, hot sauce. So I was like, you know what? Let me just kind of play around with these peppers. I had a little small basic recipe, and I was kind of playing around with it. I tasted it. When I made that first batch of hot sauce, I made like a gallon and a half. About a gallon and a half. I was like, I didn't think I was gonna sell it like that. I was like, okay, let me just get people to try it. I loved it. It was hot as hell, but it had flavor. I was like, I'm not trying to be the hottest hot sauce and this and that. Like, I want it to be very good. I want you to come back for it. But I want to be hot, but I want to kind of give you a little bit of different flavors, different tastes. So
yeah,
when I bottled that up, I kid you not, it was only like, I think like 35 bottles. At $10 a bottle, I would say, I sold out in less than 24 hours. It was like I made a post, and like 12 hours later, I might even go back and make another post. Hey, I got like 2 hours left. First come, first serve. That's it.
So you leverage social media.
No, I posted it. I did it one time. I just made it just one because no one knew I was doing it until like the first people to try were my in-laws. My wife tried it and my in-laws tried it, and it's hot. But it was like it's good. My wife don't like heat, but when she tried it, she was like, "Damn, the sauce pissed me off. It was so hot, but it tastes so good."
So that's why you went with the sauces.
That's why that's what I went with it.
But you said something important. You made the product and you posted it and you sold it.
Mm-hmm.
You realize the power of social media. It's free. So if you're not posting consistently or effectively, you're missing out as a business owner of your product, correct?
Man, that's what's made me. I think that's what got me started. Really, social media is what, whether I want to accept it or not, is what really put me on the map. That's how the Food Network reached out to me. That's how, even with like LinkedIn, stuff like that, the job I have now, it's a corporate position. I've been in this position for almost 2 years in May. And I was, they reached out to me just from, I changed my location, and that day I changed that location to be in Dallas. I had people just reaching out to me. That's Chef Darion. Like, to the point to where I love tattoos, but I don't know how clear it is. Like, this is what got me. That's why I'm Chef DeeFusion. As Chef DeeFusion, this Instagram is what really had people reaching out to me. And I want to accept it or not, it was social media.
I like it. Hey, we have to embrace it.
It'd be a bad thing, but it is what you make out of it. And that's why I was like, I'm not gonna try to fix something that's not broken. And if it's working out for me, why not make it happen?
Yeah. So, Chef, let's talk about this. Let's talk about some fun stuff. What are your pet peeves in the business?
My pet peeves like this. When people say, "Oh, I know it all," man, like, you can't know it all. Like, for me, every single day I go into a job or go to an experience, whether it's culinary or just business or just life, wanting to be like, being a sponge. When people sit here and say, "Oh, I already know that," open yourself up. You know what I'm saying? Be a little vulnerable, because you will learn something. It doesn't matter. I can learn something from somebody who never picked up a pan in a fine dining restaurant ever. Someone who just been flipping burgers for 2 years. And I can learn something, whether it's a technique, or a way of viewing things.
Yeah.
And that's why that's my biggest pet peeve. When people feel like they got it all. Well, once I get to the point where I feel like I know it all or I've done it all, then I need to go do something else. It's over and done with.
And continue to learn. What's your pet peeves in society?
People judge me by judging me by the outside.
Yeah.
And that's one thing, honestly. Like, I love about the Bay Area. That because being from the South, like whether it's in Texas or in Louisiana, Southeast Louisiana, I deal with a lot of prejudice, and a lot of judgment. My own city, like my two major cities, Dallas and New Orleans, like I didn't get the love that I got from the Bay.
Got it.
Until I moved back. Darion was been on television. Darion was doing this. Darion worked with these people. He did this and that. You know what I'm saying? When I went to the Bay Area, my Food Network show, I had filmed it back in March. Yeah, back in March in 2015 or something like that. And then in 2000, I think it was that August. Like 5 months later, is when it aired. Well, I had been living out there already since June, like in the May, June, whatever, in the Bay Area, and I just got so much love before they even knew it was like, Darion was on TV, because I still couldn't tell nobody. You know what I'm saying? They just really gave me an opportunity. Let me shine. Let me come in there. I had interviews lined up. I packed my car up with my two dogs. I go on the road. I said, because 11 months prior to that, I said I'm moving to San Francisco or to the Bay Area, and I did that. On the day I said I was gonna do it, I did it, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be staying with a friend, and we're gonna kind of go from there. I had job interviews, and but I can't just do all FaceTime interviews, whatever, and they offered me a job for a big salary position. So I went on there with a hope and a dream, and I had offered like flying out the window, and I was like, this is a chance, And then I worked for the Beach Chalet for a little bit, and then one guy, I went out to have dinner one night. I don't know how, it was just probably by the grace of God. Like the chef came out, and he was asking me how I like the food, and we started talking. He was like, "Oh, you cook this?" And I was like, "Yeah." I told him my background a little bit. I told him I just moved here like 2 months ago. So I got working here, this and that, doing this. And the owner of the restaurant was Pecan. It's no longer open no more. But you know about Pecan. I think the owner he ended up buying another one and opened a new restaurant. I can't even think of the name of the city right now, but he came out and talking to me, and was like, "Hey, just for shits and giggles, you want to just come and do it, like just do a little tasting?" I said, "Sure." I said, "What you like?" He said, "Are you free Monday?" This is on a Saturday when I came. So that Monday I came in. I did the tasting. He offered me a position. $20,000 more than what I was making. I was making good money on the beach. Really good money. And he offered me $20,000 to start right now. I put my 2 weeks in, whatever. My job at the time didn't like me when I put the 2 weeks in, so my 2 weeks turned in literally to like 2 minutes. They asked me, they had just the
pecan. You went to Pecan, right?
Yeah, I went to Pecan.
That makes sense because Pecan was one of my favorite places to go eat for.
Fine dining, with it was a fusion. Yeah. For me, it was fine dining, Southern cuisine, but done like on a whole nother level. And I took that and ran with it. Like my roots in New Orleans. My soup, my gumbo was the most expensive soup in the Bay. $49 for a bowl of gumbo, and it was slamming. It was set up. It was coming up.
I remember, and it makes sense now why I like it. I probably was eating your menu and your dishes, so that's dope, bro. That's dope. Let's do this. Last day on Earth. What's your last meal?
Last meal on Earth, man. Last meal. Man, I love cooking all this food and all this like oh my goodness kind of stuff for clients. For me, I'm very simple. Like it's probably I would have I can't just choose one, but if I had to choose one, I'm gonna go to my roots for roots. Like it'll probably be Nigerian okra soup with some fufu, with some fufu that is just like simple as that,
That's delicious. All right. Now, person dead or alive that you'd like to have dinner with, who would it be?
This has changed since I last talked. My grandmother. And like I smile now because this is she lived a great life. But she was very sweet. You know what I'm saying? But I always say this: do not let the world take your kindness for weakness. And that stuck with me for a very long time. And the meal that I would cook with her would be like she cooked. My grandmother didn't cook a lot, But she could cook some damn fried catfish, I tell you. And she, after she left this earth, the cast iron skillet that's been in our family for 3 generations before I was born. Before it was her grandmother's cast iron skillet. I got that. I didn't even ask for it. My uncle, I went to see my uncle before I left out of town last week, and I was talking to him about it, but before I could even finish the sentence, he walked into his kitchen. He was like, "This belongs to you."
Yeah, it was meant to be.
Yeah, it was meant. He was like, "It's in the right hands," and that's kind of like been lighting me up a lot lately. So
last meal with grandma.
Yo.
Bro, I want to thank you. Do me a favor before we send you off. I want to thank you for being on the show, and I'm glad that we connected. And I know that things happen for a reason. We're gonna align and do some dope shit, and we're gonna get you back into the Bay cooking.
Most definitely.
Put your sauces up to the camera, my brother, and we're gonna send you off. Thank you very much. Send you off with some little Bay flavor right here. All right. There you go. Thank you, chef.
Thank you, man. Much love.